This is David Howard for Vader TV. I'm here with James Nysatter of the Say International. Now, James, you know an awful lot about selling into China. Tell me about young tech companies and how they can outsource their marketing services to China to use an outsourced company to enter the Chinese market.
For a small company that has an interest in entering the Chinese market, an outsourced representative office is an ideal way to go. They don't have to spend a lot of time finding the right employees or facilities or even picking which city to go to, because this representative office can do all that for them.
I see. Now, a lot of early-stage startups still have Chinese-speaking people or perhaps Chinese nationals who have immigrated. Can't those companies use those existing employees to go to China and drum up business?
You know, Dave, I've seen that quite a lot. A lot of companies have Chinese engineers that are working for them, or Chinese nationals, as you say, that have been working with their company for a while. But if they're not salespeople and they've not been in China for a while, just by having them fly to China and knowing Chinese is not really the ideal way to enter the market, because they're not salespeople by trade. So they might, even though they can speak the local language, they're not, in the system working with Chinese people.
And don't you need to have some existing relationships in place to grease the skids on the sales process as well?
Yeah, that brings up the topic of guanxi, or relationships in China, which is very important. Chinese people in general have a very long-term vision, and that long-term vision is also developed through partnerships and relationships with their business partners and clients and so forth. So a Chinese person would feel much more comfortable doing business with a person where they've had a long-term relationship with them, versus if they were just to meet some person through a cold call and being expected to do business that way.
So it's not so easy to just hop on the plane and fly over to China, meet some people, and fly back.
No, some people call that the Seagull Effect. So a seagull would fly into China, make a mess of things, and then fly back out. And after a year or two of doing that, a company, might more than likely not be very successful, because they have not established the presence in China and worked those long-term relationships, as we just talked about.
And there are still opportunities in China for early-stage companies here in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, for small companies, for companies large and small, we're recommending that they seriously look into the second-tier cities in China. So Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou are the largest cities, the most famous cities in China, but the rents and cost of doing business there is phenomenal. So actually, a lot of Chinese domestic companies are moving westward to these second-tier cities. So China, by some estimates, has 100 cities that have over 1 million population. So what we're recommending is for small companies to target one or two of these small, 1 million people, target one of these second-tier cities and establish there, and they might do very well, because they probably won't have a lot of competitors, and those second-tier cities actually are inviting businesses to come in there. So basically, if a company wants to establish a presence in China, they don't have a lot of time, money, or resources to do that, a representative office can get them established in these second-tier cities or large cities if they want, but can save a lot of time for that company in getting established and helping choose which cities to start in.
Well, great, James. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.